What's up guys, Phantom here back with episode 81 of my F1 2019 career mode as we are going to Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix for round 17 of season 4 here. As you can see, we have two upgrades, a DRS and a weight distribution, which should be helpful around here in Suzuka, especially that DRS one because of how short the DRS zone is on that front stretch there. So we are closely catching McLaren in the development as we will go to qualifying.
Welcome to the only figure of 8 track on the F1 calendar. We're here at Suzuka for qualifying today ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong. And that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
As we start out here in Q3 going through 130R as we come here into the infamous final chicane here at Suzuka as we kind of heavily take out the curbs there, as we actually got on the grass there a little bit as we weren't really paying attention to our left there as we are coming up here to the turn 1, turn 2. Very interesting as we get a little bit wide there. We couldn't really hook it up to the apex there as we go again 1 through 130R there as we break at the 100-meter board. Take a lot of curb here as we don't actually take that much curb on the inside as we get a little bit loose there as we come close to the line, and we finish in P4 behind our teammate Ricciardo, who's starting to come back at us in qualifying like he did at the beginning of the year, as we are 2.5 tenths off of Norris as Leclerc is actually behind us, which is crucial as we will head to the race.
And a very warm welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix, an event that has decided a Drivers' Championship 11 times over the years and has hosted some very memorable races as well. Who can forget Kimi Raikkonen's win from 17th on the grid in 2005, or Kamui Kobayashi's incredible drive to a podium in 2012. We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at the unique figure of 8 Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with average speeds approaching 136 miles per hour. DRS will be available, of course, into the potential passing opportunity at turn 1, although the best place for overtaking will be through 130R and into the final chicane. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once again by Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Old Timer. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday and will start from pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Ricciardo, Oldtimer, Charles Leclerc and Perez, Hamilton, Bottas, Stroll and Roman Grosjean, Sainz, Raikkonen, Daniel Kvyat and Vettel, Weber, Albon, Kevin Magnussen and Devon Butler. Russell and Nico Hülkenberg completes the grid, and with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
As we sit here in P4 here at the Suzuka International Circuit as the 5 lights are out, and we get a pretty average start there as Leclerc doesn't get a very good jump, but Perez, his teammate, gets an absolute launch and he's right on us as we kind of try to squeeze out Leclerc there. Perez has gotten a run on our inside. We've touched there a little bit as he's almost ahead of us, but he's gone really slow, so we're going to go around his outside, and he's absolutely just sideswiped us, so we've kind of just gave him a little bit of push, but Leclerc has just absolutely gone for a gap that doesn't exist there, as that is a one groove lane. I'm ahead of him and I have the racing left, as you can see from his perspective how Perez almost got ahead of us here, but he had to take a really tight line there as we swoop around his inside, and he just absolutely tried to run us out of road there as Leclerc's come here with his superior aero, but that is a one lane racing turn, and you can see he's not even that far. He doesn't have that much overlap. He hits our rear tire. That is a one groove lane, as in my personal opinion. He should have braked. He wasn't even have that much an angle. He probably had to brake as we lose the back end there, as Ricciardo has set the fastest lap, as Perez has beat his time, as well as Hamilton is closing up on us here, as we have decided to pit 2 laps later with Jeff's recommendation here as we come up to the hairpin now behind our teammate Ricciardo, as we're going to go for the lunge there. As we've made the move stick, he kind of turned in on us at the hairpin as we kind of ran him a little bit wide there, but we weren't going a little bit too wide there. As now we're on Verstappen here, as we're going to have the inside move and be ahead of him before 130R, so he has to lift there, as that is a one groove lane. As now there's only Norris here, who we are absolutely catching with that upgrade of DRS there, as he has to take a little bit of defensive line. He goes wide there actually, as we are not able to capitalize here as we come through the S's as we now attack him. We actually had a lift there through 130R as we now have the outside lane, but he is locked up there, and so we will take the undercut on him as we are now winning the Japanese Grand Prix as we complete lap 6 here, coming on the lap 7, as we will try to break some type of toe with Norris here. As you can see, we weave in a little bit there to break the toe on him. As we come onto lap 8, our teammate Ricciardo has gone in for a new pair of tires there, as Norris is really catching up to him, but he will run out of space there as we will go back to the normal racing lines. We just can't get the car to pitch in during that second half of turn 2 there, as we are coming into the pits 1 lap later than our teammate Ricciardo, as hopefully he has not performed the undercut on us, as he was in 3rd place there, 3rd or 4th there, as he is right now going through 130R, as we have a 2.50 pit stop there, as Norris will be right behind us here as he is not lost out in the pits here, but as Ricciardo is coming down the front stretch now, as it will now be pretty close, as we will beat him comfortably, but Norris has barely beat Ricciardo out there, so Ricciardo will settle into P3. As we come on to lap 11 here, Norris will be defending from Ricciardo there, who's on the inside, which has historically not been turned out very well here. As you can see, we have set the fastest lap, but Perez is now ahead of Ricciardo there, so that's really cost him. But Ricciardo is coming back on Perez here, who will come up the inside and actually go wide there at turn 2, as he will keep his position there.
Some information on Norris. They seem to have an issue.
As we come on to the final lap here, as Norris is having some mechanical issues, so he will be slow, but on to the final lap here, Kvyat has taken a run at Bottas, and he's come off really worse there, as turn 1 again has given headaches to the AI. As we here on the final lap, we are still pushing there as we run very close to running off the track, but Norris will fall into the clutches of Ricciardo and Perez as we come onto the backstretch here. Ricciardo is overtaking him, and then Perez is also overtaken briefly as Norris has regained his position, so it looks like he will not lose out on a podium, but we will come home to win the Japanese Grand Prix.
Superb driving. That's the race win.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Renault. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
As today's winners make their way up the podium steps, the team at Renault have shown once again what it takes to build a successful Formula One team. A well-deserved win for them. Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. This result narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I think it's got to be Lucas Weber. Time and time again, he proves that he's someone who can quietly get the job done, and that's exactly what he's done today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Our championship leaders retain their position, but their lead is shrinking. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.